Alright, so what we are going to understand next is the Cournot's model of oligopoly and what it means. Now, there's a repeated question in the paper where they have asked Cournot and Bertrand models of oligopoly. So, this is the Cournot part of it. So, what does it mean? So, it basically explains how a few firms, okay, we have a few firms which are going to compete. कुछ firms है हमारे पास, कुछ companies है वो आपस में compete करने वाले हैं, and they're gonna do this by choosing an output, okay, a quantity rather than the price. वो लोग price पे नहीं depend करेंगे. They will choose a particular output. So each firm will assume that the other firms will keep their output fixed and decide how much to produce to maximize the profit. कितना output वो लोग produce करेंगे, ठीक है. So basically वो लोग कितना जो उन लोग जो चीज़ का business करते हैं वो कितना produce करेंगे उसको बोलते हैं output, ठीक है. So based on that, Cournot model depends on, ठीक है. They're gonna assume that the other firms will keep their output fixed and decide how much to produce to maximize their profit. So what does that lead to? This leads to that the quantity is a strategic decision variable. Okay. Now, what is the market structure in an oligopoly? So the model applies in an oligopoly where only a few firms exist and the product is homogeneous. That means सबका product एक ही है. They don't sell different products. Each firm's output is going to depend on each firm's output affects the market price. ठीक है. Each firm का output will affect the market price and this makes the firms mutually dependent on their decisions. Okay. And then we have a few key assumptions in the model. So Cournot's model assumes that all the products are homogeneous, that is identical. The they have equal cost structures. Firms decide simultaneously, सारे firms simultaneously decide करने वाले हैं. No cooperation और collusion, ठीक है. कोई भी cooperation नहीं होगा ये firms के बीच में. And each firm knows the market demand, ठीक है. And each firm expects the rival to keep the output constant, ठीक है. Output inconsistent नहीं रहेगा, it will stay constant, ठीक है. ये एक expectation है from the rivals from the other companies, ठीक है. Now, what is strategic interdependence? Since the price depends on total market output, ठीक है. एक total market output पे वो depend करता है. So if one firm produces more, then the market fails, ठीक है. तो फिर क्या होगा? Rival का profit decrease कर जाएगा. So each firm must consider the other when choosing its own output, ठीक है. ऐसा नहीं कि कोई भी output निकाल लिया. They have to think about the other when they think about a particular output. Then reaction functions. Each firm forms a reaction function showing how much it would produce based on the rival's output, ठीक है. So what were reaction functions that depending on जो मतलब एक राइवल का आउटपुट रहेगा उसके ऊपर, ठीक है. और there's gonna be like वो खुद एक पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू डिसाइड करेगा कि उसको कितना आउटपुट generate करना चाहिए, ठीक है. So each firm forms a reaction function showing how much it would produce based on the rival's output. Where these reactions functions जो reaction functions है वो intersect करेंगे, both the firms are choosing their best responses, ठीक है. That is where the best response lies where the reaction functions intersect. ठीक है? This point determines the Cournot equilibrium. Then we have the profit maximization behavior. The profit maximization rule says that each firm sells output, sets an output. ठीक है? Each firm is going to set an output where the marginal revenue will be equal to the marginal cost. MR is equals to MC. This is the profit maximization rule. So MR depends on the rival's output too. So that output decision becomes strategic क्योंकि वो rival के output पे भी depend कर रहा है, not just one's own output पे. ठीक है? Then we have the Cournot's equilibrium. Okay, now a Cournot-Nash equilibrium occurs when both firms choose the best response output. ठीक है? Both the firms are going to choose a best response output, and none of those firms can improve their profit by changing output. Now again we have the classic Nash equilibrium definition here. ठीक है? So this leads to a stable outcome and mutually optimal strategies. Now what is next? Comparison with monopoly and perfect competition. ठीक है? So market output under different structures will be. ठीक है? अब वो देखते हैं हम लोग क्या होगा कि market structure अगर monopoly है then the output will be the lowest, the prices will be the highest and competition will be none. So monopolies often हम लोगों को देखने मिलते हैं in real life scenarios where output एकदम कम निकलता है, prices एकदम high होते हैं and there is no competition for those big companies. उसको बोलते हैं monopoly. What is a Cournot's oligopoly? It is where output middle में है, prices भी middle में है and competition limited है. It exists but it is limited. Then we have perfect competition वाला market structure where output is the highest, price is the lowest and competition is full. ठीक है? So Cournot जो हो गया है, it is a middle ground between monopoly and full competition. Now, mathematical representation will be like an example. ठीक है? Example दे रहा है इधर पे in terms of like a little bit math. So in a two-firm Cournot duopoly with identical firms. Duopoly means we have two identical firms. ठीक है? Where each firm produces one third of the competitive output. ठीक है? One third of what would be produced under perfect competition. ठीक है? Then the total output is equals to two-third of the competition level. Then यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है is the price is lower than a monopoly but higher than competition. It shows how few firms restrict outputs and this raises prices. Okay. What is the significance of the Cournot model? The significance is that it is important because it is the first formal model of strategic competition. It was introduced as a concept of mutual interdependence and it is a foundation. There's a foundation for Nash equilibrium in oligopoly theory and it is used to analyze prices, output and welfare in key industries. Okay, so that is what Cournot's model of oligopoly was. Okay, thank you.